it's Debbie with Kip's Corner. Welcome back, and if you're new, welcome. Thanks for joining me. So I think I've mentioned in the past couple videos that I was working on a new journal, and I thought perhaps it was time to show it to you, or at least show you where I am so far. I had some distractions the first few weeks of January, working on the puzzled bird pieces and things like that, and so I haven't gotten this as far along as I wanted to, but it's getting close. This is going to be a rat pack journal, and if you're familiar with Nick the Booksmith, I'll put the link below, but she shows how she makes what she calls a rat pack journal. And basically it's you have two book covers, and I've selected some pretty grungy, falling apart, seen much better days book covers that I believe I got these from Patty at Sacred Mementos. And I've got a front and a back. And the back is just as beautifully grungy as the front. And then the this piece of fabric, it's like a tapestry, thick upholstery fabric. It's absolutely gorgeous. And that goes on there like that. I mean, it'll all be cut, but the cover goes under, the book cover goes on top, the fabric goes underneath, and then you have this fabric spine, soft spine here. And you open the book and it'll be like that. You'll see more as I progress. This is the kind of journal where you absolutely want to do the cover last, because that allows you to measure for the right spine. So, because you don't want to get into a situation where your spine's not big enough, and anyway, it's easy to get gator mouth where it kind of gets like this, and that's not what I want. So let me show you, let me set this aside, and I'll kind of show you the parts and the pieces and what this is going to look like. So here's my front and back cover. There'll be a spine. It's actually going to turn the other way, but you get the idea. There'll be a spine. And then I'm going to take this beautiful piece of vintage lace that I have, and that's going to go here like this. And I won't need all of it, but that'll go on the front like that. And then this vintage brooch, which is also gorgeous. It's got a couple pieces missing, but perfect. We love it that way. Well, wait a minute. Before we do that, I think I'm going to put some black seam binding here. And again, this will tuck underneath. And this will tuck underneath. And then this will go here. And that's kind of what my cover will look like. Just really simple and delightful. And very vintage and grungy, and yet a little bit of elegance there to go with it too. So that's the idea. And then I also have this beautiful button that I'm going to use. I think I'm going to use this as the closure button. I've got to figure that part out. So I've got that set aside. And then for the pages on the inside, I've selected, it's Tracie's fabric swatch kit. Fabric swatch. It's an older kit, but I've never done anything with it, and so I thought this would be perfect for it. So this is very much going to be a very feminine, ladies' journal. But it's a rat pack. It's ratty. It's not intended to be clean pages. And this, me making this journal was a challenge from my friend Michelle Scott. And the idea is, that there's not clean cut pages, that it's just rat and it's scraps and it's pieces that you were found, kind of lying around. So that's exactly what I did. And then I used Tracie's kit on the pages, shrunk it down because this is not going to be very big. This book cover is not very big, so I love. This is going to be a neat size, an absolute hold in your hand kind of size. And here, let me get some of this out of the way here. Get my mess cleaned up. And so I've used Tracie's kit for for the front pages of the journal, and I've got 5 signatures. These are pretty much ready to go. And then inside, I've got some leather tabs here with some lace and buttons, lots of fabric. And I may go into some of these pages and add some fabric swatches, some textured paper, old book paper, a little bit of coffee dyed paper. Here's some handmade paper with some inclusions in it. Gorgeous. That feels like onion skin. More handmade paper. So you get the idea. And so they all kind of look a little bit like this, where most of the pages, especially on these handmade pieces and stuff, has just been ripped. And so there's a lot of readiness going on to the edge there. And so that's the guts. Those are ready to sew in, but before I do that, I mean, I'll sew them in after I finish the cover, but before I do any of that, what I really want to do is go in here and put some pockets and things inside of, sort of determine what's going to go on the inside, because as this grows, the height of my spine will grow, and I want that to be pretty much an exact measurement when I get ready to do the cover, if that makes sense. So it's a project that is backward from what I'm normally used to working on. But I did figure out what the cover is going to look like before I got started. I just didn't actually do it before I got started. So meanwhile, I have pieces from Fabric Swatches and Fabric Swatches add-on, both of those kits from Tracie's LoveJunkJournals, and I'll put both of those links below. And I've just trimmed out these are some pockets, and what I'm doing now is I want to replace the buttons on here that are digitally printed with some real buttons. And so I've just been kind of going through and looking at some of the buttons that I have, and I want to get some nice grungy, look at that one. That is just beautiful grunge. That's a metal button. And so I think that will go here. And so that's what I'm doing now. I also have a few, these are printouts from the Old Design Shop. A couple of them that I have just backed with some craft paper that'll be nice to slip in here. And they're sort of sewing related. Thought that would go nicely with the fabric swatches. And then some little tags. And again, I printed those out smaller than actual size, so I'll be able to play with those. And then some journal cards that are from the kit that I put onto some, I believe this is Tim Holtz backdrops. And I just took one of the backdrops and added those to the back, and so I'll be able to do more with those as well. So next thing is to just now figure out what I want to do with some of these tags and pockets. I've already got, let's see if I can find some. I've already got a couple places in the journal where I've created a little cluster with a vintage button. This is a rusted paper clip. This is a piece of leather from the spine of this book that I'm going to use on the front. So you can see that. And then this is a piece of a flour sack. So yeah, let's see. I think I did a couple of those. I'm not sure where they all are. But they're just mixed in here throughout. Yep, here's another one. Little black lace on that one, so I may incorporate some black lace on some of these as well. So yes, there's a couple little clusters already in there. I'm gonna set that aside. And then I also have a little stack of some fabric. These are just strips and pieces of fabrics that I had. A couple of them are new that I've just pulled out that I think the colors sort of might go fairly well with what's going on. And so now what I want to do is I want to take a look. You take this for example. I want to say, do I want to put a fabric scrap piece here and replace it with the one that's on there? And this actually is the perfect color to do that with. So let's just do that. I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna cut this bigger than what I need. I'm not gonna cut it, I'm gonna rip it if I get it started enough there. I'm just gonna rip And let's make that, let's go about halfway on that one. About halfway. Rip that. Whoopsie. You gotta get started enough to where you can grab hold of it, right? There we go. And now one of these should work fairly nicely going right here. And then what I think I'll do is sew on here, following the sewing line that was on the digital kit. So I think that'll be really cute. Maybe I want to do this one instead. Maybe, we'll see. Maybe some little mini staples, just to add a little bit more texture there, and replace some of, not all of them, but some of the fabric swatches that are on some of these pieces with other ones that I have. So that's the idea, and that's basically what I'm doing now, is just flipping through and kind of seeing what I might like and what might work. Like this one is very purple. I don't have a whole lot of purple here, but I've got some gorgeous swatches. But this is nice. That might be fun there. This is a really pretty piece, and I have plenty of it. So let's go right here. And some of these I may cut. Some of these, this is really thick, so this is probably going to be harder to tear. And then I'll do some hand sewing on these, and yeah, that's not going to tear for me. Going against the, there it goes. And just, you know, basically that's where I am. Once I get that part done, then I'll be able to put the cover on, and then this will essentially be done. Let's see if I can get these strings off of here. There we go. Good enough. Set that aside. And then I think I want, you know, I want to go with, I think that piece there. So I think I'm just going to staple that on. Actually, before I staple it on, I want to go ahead and do some sewing on these. So I'm just going to create a little pile here, and some of them, you know, just using different fabrics. So I think that'll be really pretty. And I want to try to, you know, not use any of these fabrics a lot. Try to keep them pretty much like I was collecting scraps. Well, I mean, we all collect scraps, but like, you know, collecting samples in the journal. And I'm just going to add fabric swatches to the fabric swatches digital kit. Okay, and here's one done. I took the little piece of fabric, I put some tiny staples on it to hold it down, couple little stitches here by hand, and then I sewed around, sort of followed what was already on there, left it go wonky, and caught that edge on those two sides there. And so that one's done. So I'm just going to keep going. I think next, let me set these aside. And let me look at, let's take this one for example. So here's the pocket. And I think what I want to do is put a piece of fabric behind here with the button. And I think I like this one here. Yeah, that's fun. So let's kind of pull that there. Yep, I like it. I'm going to go ahead and let the fabric hang off the side of the pocket here. And then I'm going to put this right where that one was. But I'm going to glue it on, and I'm going to glue it. I could sew all the way through the paper, but the reason I'm going to glue it is because I don't want a notch here on this back side when I'm trying to, I don't want it to catch when I'm trying to put something in the pocket. So I'm going to actually glue it on. But before I glue it on, I want to put I want it to look like it's sewn on. I don't like putting buttons on anything where there's not thread in them to where they look like they are already sewn. So I'm just gonna take my thread and wrap this around here a couple times. I think what I'll do is go ahead and sew around this pocket. I'm gonna tack this on just a little bit right in the center. So when I sew it on, it doesn't move on me. Come over just, that's probably good. There we go. I'm gonna sew this. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I'm just gonna tiny staple it. Like that. Get down there. There we go. I'm actually gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna fix my button here. And that's cute. That just goes with the whole, but since I'm gonna leave it, I am gonna go ahead and put just a little bit more of the art glitter glue down. This works fine. Just to tack it. Okay, now let's get this, and that's gonna go right there. There we go. I'll clamp that down. I think I'm gonna put one more staple just for fun right there. Okay, I'm gonna clamp this down and let that get nice and dry before I do anything else. I got glue all over it because it was on my fingers. There we go. I think I got it off. Okay. And so again, I'm just going to continue that way with some of these different individual pieces and tags and things like that. And then I'll put them in the journal and I will be ready to start finishing it off. So more to come on this journal. Again, I'm going to call her the Rat Pack Swatch Journal. Fabric swatches from Tracie. I will put both of those kits below. Adorable kit, just an adorable fun kit to play with. And I'll also link the video to Nick the Booksmith's video on making the Rat Pack Journal. And it's an older video. It's been around for a while. I've just never tried this. And like I said, I was sort of challenged to try it. And so that's what I'm doing. I'll be back with more. Thanks. Bye-bye.